Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is I Don't Want No Huns. I am a wife, a mother of two, and a part-time YouTube anti-MLM commentator, parodyist, and comedian. Today I wanted to do a quick video, I hope that this won't be too terribly long, to talk about, are all Monat Market Partners racist? I think that this is a really important conversation to have because it doesn't just apply to Monat Market Partners. It doesn't just apply to paparazzi consultants or Limelife beauty guides. It applies to the idea of things outside of multi-level marketing. The idea of being associated with a group of people or an ideal that even if you don't hold that ideal, is that ideal going to follow you regardless of whether you believe in it or not? This whole thing came up because I was reached out to by a current market partner. I am not going to name this person. I'm not really even going to offer a lot of information from our conversation out of respect for her. I do think, after thinking on our conversation for a while, that this market partner is feeling some cognitive dissonance, trying to justify and feel better about the choice of staying with Monat. Now, the reason that she ultimately messaged me, and I will read that part if I can find it. Here's my whole reason for reaching out. I don't stand with the horrible behavior of the people you have called out. I am trying to do my best, just like everybody probably is. And I'm not sure what my move is, but I do believe that it will be shown. So we went back and forth about the different, reasons why I'm against Monat in general, a lot of the scientific reasons, the false claims, the lack of accountability, the regulations, a lot of the same old. And with all due respect, I got a lot of the same responses that we get all the time from all market partners, things that are kind of just pounded into their brains. And I was encouraged to look at things from all sides, which, if anybody knows the anti-MLM community, especially me and my research, I absolutely look at all sides. And all of my research and all my information comes from the companies themselves and or current or former Monat reps. It's not like I'm just looking, through the window and making an opinion based on what I only visually see. I am forming an opinion based on what I'm being told from firsthand actual experience. So the overall feeling and the overall motivation behind this is that this market partner was feeling maybe defensive about the idea that anytime somebody says that all MLM reps are girls who peaked in high school, anytime there is a lumping together of a stereotype of a type of person, this market partner was feeling defensive. I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that. But here is where I want to bring up the argument then. Is it safe to say that all Monat reps are racist? Well, no. I don't think that we could say that. The market partners that I know personally are not racist. At least I don't believe that they are. They've never done anything to show that. However, or, are the Monat Market Partners all the girls that peaked in high school? Were they all the bullies? Are all Monat Market Partners horrible human beings who believe the terrible things that we are constantly talking about? Likely not. However, the point that really needs to be addressed here is that when you align yourself with a company that allows those types of thoughts, mentalities, ideals that are against what you believe, you will be associated with those ideals. The example that I gave this market partner was the job that I was at beforehand, before I currently have where I currently work. There were things going on behind the scenes that I knew about, things that we took to the board of directors, and the board of directors did nothing about it. Not a thing. And as me and other staff members were seeing the changes and the things that were bad that were happening that we didn't want to be associated with, we knew we had two choices. We either stuck it out and dealt with the fallout, or we left. Because at the end of the day, if something terrible were to be exposed about that school and I still worked there, It doesn't matter if I agreed with it, fought against it, whatever. If I have that school on my resume and something bad comes out about it, people will create a judgment about me. I will be associated with the thing that happened, whether I had anything to do with it or not. And that applies to everything. I'm going to even use a harsher one that is even more difficult to even wrap your heads around, right? I was raised Catholic, and we have seen over the past few years a lot of corruption within the Catholic Church. And for a lot of reasons, we have chosen not to go back to the Catholic Church because of the way that those things have been handled. I do not wish to be associated with the Catholic Church until there is massive reform on how these situations are handled. Is it fair to say that all priests should be associated with those priests that did the bad things? No. There are good priests out there. Absolutely there are. But it doesn't change the fact that when I go to church, in the back of my mind, I'm worried if that priest has something to do with it, if they didn't speak out, if they didn't condemn what happened. So when you have priests that don't condemn the horrific things that have happened in the Catholic Church, you have to wonder, why are you not speaking out about this? Why are you not taking a stand and saying, this is not okay, and I'm going to fight for our own institution, our own religion, to make massive reform? So the same thing goes for Monat. When terrible things are said by their market partners, their independent contractors, and Monat is absolutely silent about it, I think it is safe to say, in my opinion, that the people who are at the very top of Monat, that are the ones that should be handling it, their silence equals racism by complacency, racism by silence. You are complicit in your silence. And if you stay with Monat, that does not mean that you necessarily are racist, but it means that you are putting your money, your desire to still use a product that can absolutely be replaced by any other product, before a minority group of people that have been massively offended. Another example that was brought up, that this market partner brought up, was, Chick-fil-A. I personally will not eat at Chick-fil-A. Do I love their chicken sandwiches and their Polynesian sauce? Yes, I do. But have I had one in the past 5, 6, however many years since we discovered what they do with their money? Absolutely not. I have not had one, and I do not intend on it. Because why? I can get a good chicken sandwich pretty much anywhere else. It's really not a big deal. And 2, I don't want my money going to any corporation that is going to outwardly donate money to homophobic organizations. And so to say, well, I can't, we can't agree with everyone, so I'm still going to go get the food that I like there. Well, no. If I see you in line at Chick-fil-A, I assume that you are deciding that your cravings for food are more important than what the company is doing. So are you yourself homophobic? Are you yourself racist? Maybe not. But do you put your needs, your desires, your wishes ahead of an oppressed group of people? And if the answer to that is yes, then it's not a question of, are you racist? Are you homophobic? Are you whatever? But you have to decide, is my finances, is my food choices, are those the things that are more important to me? And I think that's the hard pill that people need to swallow. I loved that chicken sandwich. I loved those waffle fries. But those waffle fries don't taste as good as making sure that my LGBTQ friends and family are supported and safe. The fact that if I walked into any of my friends' homes with a Chick-fil-A cup, it would have a meaning behind it. It would be sending a message of what that Chick-fil-A cup means, what the money I use to spend on that cup, where that money is heading. So your actions have consequences, and whether you intentionally mean for them to be harmful or not, sometimes they can be. And what's really difficult as human beings is when we recognize that we are making choices that marginalize a group of people, that hurt a group of people, to put our own desires aside and say, you know what, I'm not going to do something. And this person brought up, like, we can't do right by everybody. Absolutely we can't. Absolutely we can't. There's going to be times where you're going to learn about a company that does something and you're just going to be like, God, man, another company that I really shouldn't give my money to. And maybe a couple times you still buy from them and, because you're still trying to work it out. No one's perfect. Nobody's perfect. She brought up another company that I had never heard of where there might be children making the products. I'd never heard of the company, so I don't know. But if I found out that a company that I bought clothes from was using child labor, no, I would stop buying from them. I'm not going to support that, no matter how much I like that company. She also brought up Amazon's poor work conditions. Listen, that's a completely different argument. One company's poor work conditions does not excuse Monat's silence, does not say, well, they've got bad work conditions and we still use Amazon Prime. Well, yeah, I do still have Amazon Prime. But the difference with me using Amazon Prime is I'm not oppressing a group of people who cannot decide who had no choice in being gay. If people work at Amazon, there's things that we can do to support them, to help them fight for better wages, better work conditions, but they chose to work there, and we will continue to do what we can to advocate for them. But being an Amazon worker is not something you're born with. Being gay is. Being black is. Being indigenous is. Being any person who is brown, any person who is yellow, any person who is any other ethnicity or any other orientation of gender, sexual orientation, those are not chosen. So when those companies stay silent on issues or donate money to other organizations that actively work to harm these people, no, you can't stay silent. You can't just say, well, I don't agree with them, but I'm still going to sell the product. I'm sorry, with all due respect, that's not acceptable. And, I'm going to keep this person private. I'm not going to name names at all. I won't even show faces, nothing. But I have to very strongly disagree that I do believe that this message was sent to me, this conversation was had with me in an attempt to make yourself feel better about why you do what you do, about why you're still with Monat. And I really hope that you can continue to really think about if you want to be aligned with and let's just put MLMs aside. Let's just put the fact that I very much disagree with the structure of multi-level marketing. Let's put that aside. That's not even matter. Okay? Let's just say that I am for MLMs. I'm not. But let's just say that I am. It's about being associated with a company that allows their market partners to say and do horrific things with absolutely no consequence. And if I were you, I would find another MLM, one that is actually better. But you're going to have a hard time finding one that is going to hold people accountable, one that's going to be regulated, one that's going to actually be filled with good people who are going to care about you, the market partner. So I really encourage you that if you, and my messages are always open. I was happy to hear from this person. I spoke with her at length. I gave my examples. A lot of what she said back to me is stuff I've heard countless times already. And she felt like I was maybe getting a little defensive. I was, maybe, just because I felt like, what do you want me to say? I'm not sure what she was hoping I would say from this. I'm not sure she was hoping I would say, it's okay. I understand why you're still there, because it's not okay. And I don't understand why you're still there, with all due respect. So if you are currently a market partner, I'm happy to talk to you. Well, I mean, my conversation is always open. I will always have conversation with you. But if you're looking for me to excuse, and just like forgive you for work, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Want to say that she was looking for my I don't know. I'm still a little confused as to why I was the one that was reached out to, why she felt the need to reach out to an anti-MLM account to justify what she does and why she is still with Monat. I never even heard of her before this moment. So the all in all, the point I want to make is that you don't have to be racist or homophobic or sexist or whatever. But if you continue to work for a company that is outwardly racist, homophobic, sexist, any of those awful things, then whether you are or not, you will be associated with people who are. And there will be people who will lump you together. And if you don't want to be lumped together, then don't stand with a lump that is racist. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.